Okay. And we are back in business. Welcome to Serendipity. My name is Star, and today I thought I'd do a little garden haul and then move on to propagating some fig cuttings and starting some alpine strawberry seeds. So first, let's start with the little haul. Recently I bought this. It's a leaf blower. I bought it off of Amazon for like less than $20, I believe. I think it was less than $20. It's an electric one and it's small, but it's so powerful. And because I have a smaller yard, I feel like I didn't need the gas leaf blowers, although those are pretty cool too because you don't have to connect it to anything. But this one works just as well, and it was a lot more affordable. So I've already used it once, and let me tell you, if you've never used a leaf blower before, it looks like so much fun and so easy, but it is actually kind of difficult. I don't have any big trees in my yard, but because it's been windy lately, leaves just fly into the yard. And when I was trying to leaf blow, I was having such a hard time trying to make sure that none of the leaves went into my neighbor's yard, because obviously I don't want to inconvenience anyone. So it was really difficult, and I feel like I still need a lot of practice, but I'm getting there. So for under 20 bucks, I feel like this is a great little investment. The only downside to it, I think, is that the cord portion of it is pretty short, so you do need an extension cord. And for me, that wasn't a big deal because I already have one, so I don't have to go out and buy anything else in order to use this. But if you don't have an extension cord and you're looking for a leaf blower, maybe you would want to consider other options. This is by the brand Sunjo, and I really like it. Oh, it's so cold. What temperature is it right now? Currently 68 degrees, and I know for a lot of you that's not cold, but I live in the desert where I'm used to over 100 degrees, and that's freezing for me right now. So I think I'm going to start off with the fig cuttings because those just came in the mail today. I actually ordered these off of Amazon. No, not off of Amazon. I ordered these off of Etsy. This is my first time opening them. I got two different types of fig cuttings. They were supposed to get here last week, but because of the holidays, it just took a little bit longer. But I picked up the Cadota fig, and I also picked up the Black Mission fig. I got 5 cuttings of each. Oh, it actually sent a few more. Okay. Let me go ahead and look at that. Let me go ahead and unbox them for you. So I was supposed to get 5 of each cutting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They sent me 7. Okay, that's pretty freaking awesome. So I have 7 of the Black Mission. Now let's see how many Cadota figs they sent. That's pretty cool. They sent me extras. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 of the Cadota as well. That is pretty cool. I think I paid around $10 to $12 for 10 cuttings, not including shipping. I think shipping was like $4 or $5, but they sent me 2 extra, which is pretty cool because if all of these take and are successful, then I'm gonna have like 14 fig trees. Do I need 14 fig trees? No, but I can give some to friends and family. So that is pretty awesome. And then I see here that they wrote slanted side is bottom of cuttings. Thank you. Okay, I'm so excited. I don't know if you guys have ever propagated fig trees from cuttings. I never have. I've actually never even tried a fig, but somehow I ended up on the fig side of YouTube, and people are obsessed with these. Okay, they say that it's one of the best tasting fruits. There's hundreds of varieties. Some of them go for hundreds of dollars for cuttings, not for a plant, but for a cutting that you then have to grow. And I think that's pretty cool. I was actually posting about it on Instagram, where some people say some varieties taste like sugar, others like honey, and others like berries or like berry jam. And am I excited? Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna try to experiment a little bit with these figs. Okay, so because I have 7, I was counting on 5, but now I have 14, so I think I'm going to split them up. People propagate cuttings with several different mediums. You can do things like peat moss, cocoa coir, fine fir bark, what else, vermiculite and perlite. And everybody has their own method, and a lot of people are like, my method's the best, don't do this, do what I do. But I also think it depends a lot on your climate and location. So I live in zone 90. I live in the desert, and our climate here is very hot and dry, and right now when other places are freezing and they're getting a lot of snow. It's like, what's the temperature again right now? It's 68 degrees here right now. The high today was 70 and we're already in December, so I feel like I don't have to worry as much as others do about keeping my figs warm or anything like that. So basically, okay, let me stop babbling. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some Solo clear cups. I bought these for like $2 and maybe like 30 cents. Oh no. You can use whatever vessel you want. These are just really inexpensive. And if you're starting a ton of cuttings at once, I feel like it's more cost effective, and then you can just reuse them. Okay, so I have my marker here. The two mediums that I'm going to try are sand, which I know sounds really weird, but I've heard that you can root them in sand, and also some potting mix. My potting mix is a mixture of peat moss, vermiculite, and compost. A lot of people are for or against using compost because they say that it'll start to break down the cutting, but others say that the cutting has like its own almost like natural defenses where it won't break down that easily. So we'll just have to see. So I think I'm gonna do 3 in sand, 3 in my potting mix, and then 1 in a mixture, half and half of the sand and the potting mix. And then we'll see what works and what doesn't work. And I figured for the ones that I have in the sand and the potting mix, I do 2 with parafilm and 2 without. That way we can just see whether you actually need parafilm to start fig tree cuttings, because a lot of people swear by it and a lot of people say it's just unnecessary extra steps. So I'm just gonna start off by writing the names. Let me know if you guys have ever tried figs and what your favorite fig is. Like I said before, I've never tried them, but people are obsessed with them. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of honey. I haven't had honey in like 7 years. I haven't had honey in over 4 years, but when I was younger and I tried it, I wasn't the biggest fan of it just because it was really, really sweet. Some figs, they say, have the taste of honey, but they also have more complexity to them, so that's why they're like more enjoyable. So we'll just have to see. The ones that I feel like I'm most interested in trying are the ones that have the berry flavor. You know what though, this might be really hard to see once my medium is actually in there, so I might have to go in and add labels to the top. Either way, that's cool, no worries. So I'm gonna use this tray that I picked up at Lowe's a few weeks ago, and I actually included it in a little garden haul, I believe. So I'm gonna start with the ones that need sand. Actually, before I start filling them, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around the bottom and I'm gonna cut out some drainage holes. I think I'm gonna cut about 3. You want to make sure not to forget this step, because you want whatever medium you're using to be nice and well draining so that your cuttings don't rot. Let me know if you guys have ever bought any fig cuttings. I know there's a website called Figaholics where you can buy them and you can bid on them. And I actually went on there and I tried to do that, but I'm not really good with the whole bidding wars. I feel like I just like to be able to buy stuff and not have to, what is the word? Like, I don't want to have to struggle so much. I was so excited because I had placed like, I think 4 bids on 4 different cuttings, and they beat me for all of them. And I just kept getting notifications saying this person outbid you, this person outbid you. So it was fun, but I feel like I want to know, you know, I just want to know if I got them or not. And so far I haven't really had any luck with it, but it's pretty cool because there's a bunch of different varieties on there. What I decided to do instead is wait until January, because there's another website called Figaholics. The gentleman who runs it actually has a YouTube channel, and he has, I think, over 300 different varieties of figs. January of 2020, he's gonna start selling some, and it's pretty cool because you only have to pay 1 flat rate shipping fee if you live in the US, and you can buy as many cuttings as you want. The only thing is that a lot of people love figs, and so when his sales finally go live, it's like Black Friday for people who are obsessed with figs, and people are just waiting and things sell out really fast. So I'm kind of excited for that. That's gonna be next month, and I figured I'd just stop bidding because I'd rather just save up and then pick up several different varieties at once and know that I'm gonna get them, you know, unless they sell out, of course, but I'm gonna be ready. I've been making a list on my phone and in my notebook just so that I like know exactly which ones to get, and I've been looking up a ton of reviews on them on YouTube and on different forums, and I'm just so excited. Have you guys ever propagated any fig cuttings yourself? I feel like this is a very inexpensive way to get a ton of trees, because you do have to do pretty much all of the work as soon as you get a hold of the cuttings, and there's a chance that not all of them will make it, but it's way more cost effective. Like for 14 possible trees, I paid like $10 to $12, which is nuts. Because I have seen fig trees. I'm gonna start filling up with sand now. I have seen some fig trees at my local Lowe's, but they sell for around $30 for one tree. And if I can grow it from a cutting, why not try, you know? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snip off a portion of the ends. I'm gonna scrape a little bit, and then I'm going to dip them in some rooting hormone. The brand that I'm using is Garden Safe Take Root Rooting Hormone. I bought this from Lowe's for around $3 to $4. If you don't have it, you don't have to use it. Some people don't use it at all, but others use it because they say it's just added security to make sure that you give these cuttings the best, what is the word? Like the best chance at taking root. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to score the ends of these, I think. Some people just make slits like this. And others actually scrape it, either on one side or two sides, like that, so you can see a little bit of the cambium layer. I'm gonna do 2 little slits and then a couple of cuts in between, and then I'm going to cut them, and then I'm just going to dip them in the rooting hormone, just like that. A lot of people make the indentation in the medium and then they put them in, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let them sit for a little bit and absorb some of that rooting hormone before I put them in, without making any indentations. That way it can have the most contact. So I'm just going to keep doing that for the rest of them. So I'm going to do 2 with, 2 without. So I'm trying my best not to cut too deeply into them. But at the same time I am trying to make some slits. So those 2 are not covered in parafilm, and then I'm going to cover some in parafilm because I have it. And I'd like to see how they grow with it and without it. The cool thing about parafilm is that it comes in different widths. So a lot of people use 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Mine happens to be 4 inches. So all I'm going to do is just cut these in half and then cut them in half again and use it in that way. Man, and these cuttings look pretty good. Like they're nice and thick. So do you guys see that? You kind of stretch it and then you start wrapping, and then you keep stretching and you keep wrapping. When it comes to the portions of the fig cutting that have the node, I'm trying to only wrap once and not do like a double layer, so that they can easily break through once they start growing. Oh, but this stuff is so freaking cool. That is so awesome. That's so easy. And you know what? It doesn't take that much time. It's like an extra few seconds, and if it adds a little bit of extra security and ensures that these don't dry out, I don't mind doing it, you know. But if you don't already have it and you want to skip it, it's going to be pretty cool to see whether it actually makes a difference or not. So one of the reasons people like to use parafilm is because it helps to retain moisture in your cuttings, and the reason that's important is because you don't want them to dry out, because just like you don't want them to rot, you also don't want them to dry out and then die that way as well. And other people sometimes skip using parafilm and instead they use they create like a little greenhouse where they trap in a lot of moisture, but then that can also lead to mold growing on your cuttings. So that's why I think this is a safer alternative. Have you guys ever purchased anything from Figaholics? If you have, are you excited for this year's sale? Now it's funny because some people started out with like 2 or 3 figs and they're like, this is a big collection as is, I'm not gonna buy any more, and now they have like 60, 80 plus different varieties. And it's cool. I've seen forums where people trade them. People trade like rare varieties, they'll sell them. It's just really cool. I think it's fascinating. So I'm pretty much just going to speed through the rest of this and then I'll come back once I've already put them all in the rooting medium. Ooh, I like the feel of the, as I'm sticking them in, I like the feeling of the potting mix and sand mix together more than anything else. So half of them are covered, half of them are not, and then the one that I have in the mixture of the two is also covered. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I'm confusing myself. So there you have it. These are all prepped and ready to go. So as I've mentioned before, I live in zone 9B, Arizona, and our weather right now is pretty much perfect. So I'm looking at the weather and within the next week it's going to hover in between the mid 60s to mid 70s. So I feel like that's pretty good weather for these fig cuttings. I'm not going to bring them indoors and I'm not going to cover them. Obviously not from experience, but I've seen a lot of other people who do cover them. And then once they do get them to start growing and setting roots and putting out leaves, it's a bit more difficult to get them acclimated to the weather because then they're so used to a lot of humidity, and if you live in an area where it's way more dry, you have to get them used to a dry, like a dry climate versus being in like this perfect little environment. And I feel like I just don't have the patience for that because my climate is dry as is. I feel like I want them to get used to that so that once they start growing and I pot them up, I don't have to baby them as much. I hope that makes sense. Also, oh, the rest of the rooting hormone. No. Also, I feel like because my climate is very warm, there's days when it just gets really warm out of nowhere for a few hours, and I don't want to risk my cuttings cooking. Because I've done that with roses. I tried to propagate some rose cuttings a few months ago and they were doing so well for a few days when the weather was nice and cool, but all of a sudden it got warm and my cuttings just rotted and cooked. And I don't want to go through that again, so I'm just going to leave them alone. I'm probably going to set them out here actually against the wall so that they have a little bit of protection from the wind, but not too much, to the point where I'm like babying them a lot. So anyways, I'm gonna set these aside. This is what they look like today, December 2nd, 2020. I want to do more of a monthly, probably more of a monthly update on these as they continue to grow, because I know it's gonna take some time. Oh, this is so heavy. So that's the end of that video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye guys.